Welcome to our video on June 2020 astrology forecast. The morning star of Mercury is going to go retrograde on the 18th of the month, and that's as it's transiting through the sign of Cancer the Crab, which is associated with the natural fourth house issues of hearth, home, and family. Also, Mars, god of war, is going to ingress into the sign of Aries the Ram on the 28th of the month. Now, that's going to affect your natural first house associations of self and appearances. The Aries is the daytime abode of the red planet Mars, so expect a lot of competition to increase, especially when it comes to your day job. Again, it's all about self and appearances when it comes to Aries. Now, there's going to be a penumbral lunar eclipse in Sagittarius the Archer, affecting the life, path, meaning, ninth house, natural ninth house associations, and that's going to be at 7:25 p.m. on the 5th of June, and the full moon on the same day. So the sign also, again, in the sign of the Archer, and the full moon happens at 9:13 hours or 7:13 p.m. and that's universal time coordinated, and that's tropical astrology. So the penumbral lunar eclipse is at 7:25 p.m. on the 5th, and the new moon at 7:13 p.m. on the 5th as well. Again, and that's going to be the sign of Sagittarius the Archer. Now, on June 21st, there's an annular solar eclipse in the sign of Cancer the Crab, and that's going to be influencing your relationships, increasing your psychic ability, and it's also going to increase your emotional sensitivity. And that solar eclipse, the annular solar eclipse, is going to be occurring at 6:40 a.m. And the new moon on the same day, and also in the sign of Cancer the Crab, is going to happen at 6:42 a.m. and that's universal time coordinated as well. Again, tropical astrology. Now, the healing musical note of the ancient Western arrangement for Sagittarius is the note of F. We're going to play that for you now. That's the healing note F for Sagittarius. And the healing musical note in the Western arrangement array for Cancer the Crab is the note of G. That's G for the sign of Cancer the Crab. So those are the healing notes that you can utilize during those events. Now, we're going to give you all the important planetary aspects, also the ingresses, the archangels, including the astrology charts, also horoscope houses, station changes, and the Zodiac angels coming up next. I'm Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel. I'm a Rosicrucian seer, biblical astrologer, Christian psychic, and Gnostic mystic. And this is a Readings by Rosemary angelic transmission. Now, our disclaimer, the Astrology Angel magic, which we teach, should be used with all mindfulness, since powerful forces of manifestation is going to be unleashed if you utilize it. So this is intended exclusively for entertainment purposes. Now, June's full moon is called a dyad moon by Wiccans. We're going to just go over that a little bit for you here now. Okay, so we have the dyad moon is what the full moon is called, and there's going to be a full moon here in Sagittarius on the 5th, and that's the dyad moon. Okay, and we have the new moon is going to be happening on the 21st in the sign of Cancer the Crab. Now, the new moon is going to be in association with the annular solar eclipse, and the 5th is going to be associated with the full moon. The dyad moon is going to be associated with the penumbral lunar eclipse, because full moons are when lunar eclipses happen and new moons are when the solar eclipses happen. So now, this is also called well, the reason it's called dyad moon by Wiccans is because it's associated with the summer solstice. So please see our summer solstice video we also put up this month for you as well, okay? And so that'll kind of get into that. So again, this is because it has to do with the sign of Gemini and the summer solstice. So dyad means, means twins. Now, on the other hand, the name Diane Moon which is used in medieval England for June's brightest moonlight, has to do with the sign of Cancer the Crab for Diane Moon, and the divine right of kings, along with divine providence of queens. Also, neo-pagans name June's full lunar phase as planting moon. Planting moon. And also, we have colonial Americans call it rose moon, and the Algonquins look for a strawberry moon, which is a very beautiful association. Now, June's bright moon is a month when the seasons of summertime really begin in the northern hemisphere. The summertime season really begins, okay, in the northern hemisphere. And this is a time when beautiful flowers and yummy fruits become ripe and ready to be eaten. Now, the guardian angelic forces for June are going to include the Archangel Michael, since Sagittarius the Archer is a mutable fire sign, water, fire, and an elemental Archangel Gabriel, since Cancer the Crab is a cardinal water sign, being fire of water, fire of water. So again, we're going to have our dyad moon, a full moon, a bright moon, full moon, and a penumbral lunar eclipse on the 5th in Sagittarius, and we're going to have that new moon in the sign of Cancer the Crab. The new moon in the sign of Cancer the Crab is going to be on the 21st, and that is going to be the same time as the annular solar eclipse. It's slightly different when we're just talking about a few minutes apart, but on the same day and it's close to the same time. And remember, it's the Archangel Michael for Sagittarius, because Michael is the archangel of all the fire signs, and it is the Archangel Gabriel for the sign of Cancer the Crab. On the new moon, that's because, and the solar eclipse, that's because Gabriel is associated with all the water signs, Okay. Also, remember that the Merkaba field for water for Gabriel is this, and on the summer solstice, there's also a configuration that looks kind of like this. We didn't really talk about it too much, but it just there's a configuration that's similar to this on the chart for the summer solstice. Again, you can go ahead and watch that video if you like. Now, Archangel Michael Merkaba field for all of the fire signs looks like this. Okay. All right. All right. Now we're going to sort of back it up a little bit here, and we're going to talk about the penumbral lunar eclipse and full moon on the 5th. We're going to talk about the planetary and zodiac angels. Again, it's in Sagittarius, and it's analogous to the natural 9th house of life path meaning for Sagittarius the Archer. And the planetary archangel Gabriel will visit the dwelling of zodiac angel Nachiel. So that's Nachiel is for Sagittarius, and Gabriel for the moon, because Gabriel is not only the archangel of all the water signs, but also the archangel that presides over the planet, or the ancient planet of the moon. They used to call the moon a planet, considered a planet, which means wanderer. Now, the elemental archangel for Sagittarius is Michael, the archangel Michael, again, who presides over all of the fire signs. So remember, Sagittarius is mutable fire, so Michael still works with that energy. And the Merkaba field is this one for that. Now, for the full moon for Wiccans is called dyad moon, and by neo-pagans call it planting moon. Colonial Americans call it rose moon, and Algonquins call it a strawberry moon. So it's good to understand all the different, there was because of their planting seasons and their agriculture and their animal husbandry. Now on June 20th, again, the summer solstice and the sun will ingress Cancer, okay, on June 20th. Now we have another video on that we made for you, especially on the summer solstice for June 20th. So look at that. It'll be very helpful for you. The summer solstice will happen when the sun goes from Gemini into the sign of Cancer, which is analogous to the natural 4th house of hearth, home, and family. And the planetary archangel Michael, because of the sun, will visit the dwelling of Zodiac Angel Muriel. So Muriel would be for the sign of Cancer, and Michael is the planetary archangel of the sun, okay, of the sun. And then on the 21st, we have our annular, it's annular, it's not annual like every year, it's annular solar eclipse and new moon in Cancer, which is similar to the natural fourth house, hearth, home, and family. And the planetary archangel Gabriel, because again it's the moon, okay, we'll visit the habitation of Zodiac Angel Muriel of the sign of Cancer, the crab. And not only is Gabriel the angel that presides over the moon, the planetary angel for the moon, but also for the sign of Cancer in this case, because Cancer is a water sign and Gabriel's for all the water signs, and that is cardinal water. Cancer is cardinal water, fire of water, okay? And for water, the Merkaba field for water, for Gabriel, for the archangel that presides over all of the water signs, this is the Merkaba field, okay? All right. We also have on the 28th of June, we have Mars ingressing into Aries the Ram, which is akin to the natural first house of self and appearances. So it's all about how someone is going to, how they feel that they appear to someone else. And the planetary seraphim Samael will visit the abode of Zodiac Angel Mechidael. So the planetary seraphim Samael, very powerful angel, will visit the Zodiac Angel abode Mechidael for Aries, the Ram. Now regarding the station changes, we're going to have on June 18, 2020, Mercury turning retrograde while transiting through the sign of Cancer. Again on the 18th when we have Mercury turning retrograde. Okay. Now since Cancer the crab has a divine tone called I feel, be expecting emotions about difficult messaging due to misunderstood intentions to cause confusion in all parties involved, for everyone involved. And on June 23rd, 2020, we have Neptune goes retrograde while transiting to the sign of Pisces the fish. Now since Pisces, again, the fish has a divine tone of I believe, anticipate the fish's second ruler, Neptune, to cause a revisiting of long distance friendships, especially with others who have similar interest in otherworldly encounters. Okay, and also on the 25th, we have June 25th, 2020, Venus turns direct while transiting to the sign of Gemini, the twins. Since Gemini, the twins, has a divine tone of I think, be expecting romantic relationships to become more straightforward and more direct, with less misconstrued intentions and more honest approaches that will make guessing about other people's objectives more clear. You'll know what another person is getting at and why they're behaving the way they are, and why they're communicating the way they are. It'll be more clear, more direct, because again, we have Venus turning direct. And so when Venus turns direct in Gemini has a lot of communication and transportation issues. Then we have those relationships becoming more clear, and that's what that's about. Now, for the planetary aspects, we're going to give you some planetary aspects charts, and we're going to start off with the 3rd. And please visit our planetary aspect charts. Will be up where you can see them real close and personal on Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel Facebook blog, and the blog to this entire video is also on Readings by Rosemary on Facebook. Okay, and we're going to bring this in a little closer for you here so you can see the charts more clearly. Okay, and again, you can look at them also, and we put a blog with it so you can see what planets are doing, which planet is in which sign, and how the aspect with the other planet in its sign and how that relates. And we have a blog on that. Okay, specifically for that on Pastor Rosemary, the Astrology Angel. That's again on Facebook. Now, on June 3rd, we have Venus retrograde in Gemini, square Mars in Pisces. So we have Venus retrograde here in Gemini and square on the red line, Mars in Pisces. And that's going to cause feminine styles of communicating with and transporting both people and creatures comes into conflict with the dogmatic, asymmetrical, double standard of regulations of masculine spiritual systems. There's going to be some conflict about how women and the feminine principle in general, the feminine style of communicating, comes into conflict with the masculine double standard spiritual or religious systems and spiritual systems. Because, even the spiritual systems, there's still a double standard. Now, on the 3rd, there is also Sun in Gemini here, and that is conjunct Venus retrograde in Gemini. And they're both in Geminis for that making a conjunction. Now, that's going to cause energetic and cheerful people to benefit those looking for intelligent and imaginative individuals for the purpose of winning hearts and minds. So you'll be able to sort of mix people who are very energetic and very happy-go-lucky, and they're gonna want and need intelligent, maybe more sober-minded individuals and imaginative individuals, because they've got to really grab onto those hearts and minds. And without the imagination and the intelligence, it's hard to do. You need both. You need the enthusiasm, and you need the capability and the intelligence and the imagination to do so. And on the 5th, we have, still on this chart up here, it's from the 3rd to the 5th, we have Mercury in Cancer here. And that's going to be sextile Uranus in Taurus on the green line. Green line Uranus in Taurus there. That's going to cause cooperation between feelings and intelligence, helping to liberate those chained by the accumulation of creature comforts and worldly treasure. So there's going to be a lot of helpful cooperation between the feelings and the intelligence to free people and give people more sovereignty, and to free people that are chained by over concern about where their next meal is coming from, or where they're going to get their next pedicure, those kind of things. Okay, so again, it's how one thing and another thing, either or, you can blend them and have both be important. Okay, on June 6th, we're going to go to this chart here for June 6th. We have the Sun in Gemini square Mars in Pisces. Mars in Pisces. So here we have, again, the Sun in Gemini. Excuse me, on the wrong one. Here, Sun in Gemini. Excuse me, Sun in Gemini square on the red line. Mars in the sign of Pisces, the fish. That's going to create a situation where people who think of themselves as being very active and energetic and very positive individuals are going to conflict and have sort of a tension with those they consider to be too melodramatic or overly emotional or bleeding hearts. There'll be a conflict there between people who think they're positive, upbeat, in shape, ready to go, that kind of thing, and then people who are, overly melodramatic or bleeding hearts or overly emotional and crying all the time. There's going to be a conflict between those two people. But remember, them being able to work together will come at a different time. But on this day, at this time, on the 6th of June, 2020, there will be a conflict between those types of individuals. So don't take it to heart too much if that occurs on that day. Just sort of, if you're a sensitive type, stay on your own. And sort of, do your own sort of meditation things or your own spiritual things. And if you're a real energetic type, work out. So you don't have to meet up with each other. You don't have to conflict with each other. Now we're going to go into the next part. Is going to start with June 11th. June 11th. Okay. And we have, on June 11th, we have the Sun up here in Gemini. This one goes from the 11th to the 13th. We have the Sun in Gemini square on the red line, and that's Neptune in Pisces. Neptune in Pisces. That's going to create a situation where those with lively and very optimistic lifestyles are going to square off against distant otherworldly types with philosophical viewpoints. Again, another situation where a lot of optimism, a lot of, very energetic, lively people, going to square off with people who are sort of distant and otherworldly and into kind of the strange and the odd and the bizarre and the extraterrestrial and who are philosophical. So there will be, again, another time when you have a squaring off of those types of individuals. So on the 11th, you can, again, if you're a lively type, then you can exercise or work out or do whatever makes you happy for that, and if gives you good physical energy. And if you're if you're the type that's more distant, then you can use that time to research things that interest you, like is there life on other planets or other dimensions that are spoken about in Kabbalah. And on the 13th, that's also on the top chart here, we're going to have Mars in Pisces. Mars in Pisces conjunct Neptune in Pisces, both in Pisces. That conjunction is going to create a dramatic, disciplined, and artistically expressive people who are going to defend spiritually poignant individuals. So we'll have people who are disciplined and artistically expressive, but dramatic, but disciplined, are going to defend people who are sort of concerned about spiritual things, or maybe saddened by it, or think it's deep and profound. So they will defend, they'll sort of be championed, okay, on the 13th for this chart. And we have on the 18th of June, we have on this chart here, this one is only for the 18th, we have Mars in Pisces here, and on the green line, sextile Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, causing the utilization, so utilizing one's instincts and one's and restraint guards and assist a current social revolution where all socioeconomic classes are enabled to move up the ladder of success. So it's good for that, and it will be helpful for that. Now we're going to give you the chart that is for the 20th, and it'll be the top chart for the 20th alone, here. And we have Mars in Pisces here. Mars in Pisces, sextile on the green line, Jupiter retrograde in Capricorn. That will create a situation where learning various methods of theatrical performance profits scientifically resourceful individuals, giving them new ways in which to cope. Okay, so it'll be very good for performance art, and people who are good at that will profit from scientifically resourceful individuals, because they'll be able to hook up and understand how one can better the other, sort of for new entrepreneurship, those kinds of things. Now on the 28th, that's the 28th to the 30th is on this chart, the lower chart. We have on the 28th, we have Mars in Aries is here. Sextile on the green line is going to be Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. So Mars in Aries on the green line, sextile Saturn retrograde in Aquarius here. That will cause newfound power through advances in science, will benefit research and development enterprises. So that's very good on the 28th. And on the 30th, we're going to see here, Jupiter retrograde in Capricorn, conjunct Pluto retrograde in Capricorn as well. And that will make hardworking and truthful people become encouraged by a global uprising aimed at making sure everyone is able to contribute their talents and abilities to our world's resources. So, sometimes people want to give, but they really don't want other people to give. They just want to be seen as that they give and other people don't. But there's going to be an upheaval, a socioeconomic upheaval that will allow everyone to contribute, that will allow everyone to have a say and everyone to be allowed to give, because giving is one of the great pleasures of life. And if you cannot give, you cannot be happy. So everybody's going to be able to give and give their talents and their resources to help the planet and help everybody else. Because it's going to be important for everybody to feel like they can contribute and give. And that's when these uprisings will help with that. I'm not saying it has to be anything that's going to incite anything bad, but it's more of the sort of revolutions where people who have been too shy in the past are going to come out of their shyness and maybe make YouTube videos or get themselves on, on Facebook or on some of the other online social media. They're going to be able to come out of their shells and contribute as well in various ways. Those are just some ways, but there's other ways people are going to be able to contribute also. Okay, and they're going to be finding ways to do that, because it's better to let people give, and it's not necessary for there to be any kind of violence or even social. It doesn't even have to be any kind of disobedience. I'll just have to let people give and not try to stop them from giving, because everybody should be able to give. Now, Mercury retrograde in Cancer on the 30th. Mercury retrograde in Cancer here. And that's going to be sextile on the green line Uranus in Taurus. That will cause miscommunication between emotions, and mental acuity will bring autonomy to individuals constrained by stern focus upon material opulence. So basically, if there's a miscommunication between one's feelings or emotions and one's mind and one's thoughts and ideas and mental acuity, and there's going to come an autonomy or a sovereignty, an independence, a liberation that will to individuals who are constrained by focusing too much on the material and not enough on the other aspects of life, the communication and the feelings. So it will be a day when those two things one can liberate the other. The free thinking can liberate some of and the emotions, and the love can liberate some of the stranglehold and the white knuckling of the material goods, so that people, again, because there'll be many ways to give. Okay, now we're going to go over what's called Mazzaroth, which is Hebrew for Zodiac. We're going to give the Hebrew calendar associations, placements for planets regarding the ingresses. We have the sun, Shemesh. It will ingress into Cancer in June of 2020, and the sun is called Shemesh. That's you can say Hama for the sun, or you can say Shemesh. I choose Shemesh. I used to use Hama, but I went back a long time ago. I used Shemesh when I did a lot of magical workings regarding the sun, and I'm gone back to using it again since I'm doing those again. And Shemesh for the sun in Cancer is Sartan in Hebrew, and the full moon, the moon is Lavana in Hebrew, and for the full moon it's Keseh, Shabbat, or Mashiach, and in Sagittarius is Keshat. And the moon again, Lavana, and the new moon specifically Rosh Chodesh, and again in the sign of Cancer is Sartan. And for Mercury is called Kokav, or Kokav, B and V, kind of the same in Hebrew. And ingress, there's no ingresses this month for Mercury. There's also no ingresses for Venus, Noga, which has been very bright in the sky. And also Mars does have an ingress. Mars is Ma'adim, and it'll ingress into Aries, or Tale. Tale is for Aries in Hebrew. And Jupiter is called Zodiac. And there are no ingresses for Jupiter in June of 2020. Saturn, Shabbatai, there are no ingresses. In June, Uranus is called Oron, no ingresses. Neptune is called Rahab, no ingresses. And Pluto, there's no Hebrew name, and no ingresses in June of 2020. Now keep in mind that achieving goals and accomplishing phenomenal success through astrology, angel, magic, supernatural interventions are all possible if one knows when and whom to evoke. Magicians must also consider how various planetary and zodiacal angelic beings will interact with each other. That's really the key, making sure to invoke into oneself or invoke into one's sacred circle potent forces of light that will extend into facets of the Magi's life, predetermined by her or him for specific purposes in alignment with one's true will. Magic must be taken seriously, since this is an ancient method of manifestation intended for practical victories over the constricting forces which set our 3D reality into motion. Magic has rules just like any other science, which must be devotedly applied to practice. Magicians strive not to break natural laws, but rather to understand how Mother Nature manifests her creations so that we are able to work in tandem with her. Information found in this document is based on the oral tradition known as Kabbalah, taught to me by a Rosicrucian clergy when I was but a young girl, the facts of which I've committed to memory. Thank you for joining us, and please join us again.